My next guest is Head of Political Polling at Opinion Research. That's Chris Curtis. Always a pleasure to see you, Chris. Both Laura and I were saying earlier on, and I think Tom Harwood underlined it, is that the most important jury, as it were, in this entire affair is not the Metropolitan Police, with all due respect to them, and it's not actually people like Mo who are the strategists in the background. It's Joe and Joanna Public who will determine all of this. Has someone already commissioned a poll overnight to see how they feel about it?
We are in field as we speak, Alistair. We're currently surveying the views of the British public, and we'll have results out later this evening on whether, for example, they think the Prime Minister should resign in response to the fines from Metropolitan Police. But I mean, there's quite a lot, to be honest with you, that we know already. Polling has shown that the public were at least pretty fed up with what happened here. 6 in 10, roughly, say that they think the Prime Minister should resign over what happened. More people think that the moon landings were faked than think that the Prime Minister is telling the truth about what happened over partygate. And there is increasingly a feeling among the public that this issue is a little bit of a distraction from more important events. People are increasingly telling us that in the polls. But regardless of that fact, it still had quite an impact on the reputation of both the Prime Minister and the Conservative Party.
Fascinating, because also you guys importantly keep trends. You watch, as you were just implying there, what folk felt before the war in Ukraine started and Russia invaded 6-7 weeks ago, the cost of living crisis, those taxes kicking in, all of the rest of it, those factors all tickle along. But I want to repeat this to you because I don't want me or our listeners and viewers to get it wrong. You're saying that there's already recent evidence in recent polling that the public have begun to move on because of Ukraine.
That was certainly true. But I mean, look, I suppose my way of thinking about all of this is that in a year's time, the biggest debate in this country is going to be the cost of living crisis and how the government is responding to that. It's a very difficult issue for the government to respond to because no matter how much they do, it's never going to be enough for people. And it's the kind of issue where people tend to trust Labour a little bit more than the Conservatives to start off with. So they're facing this really big issue that's affecting the lives of most people, if not everybody, in this country. Now, going into that, they need to be fighting fit, battle strong, have the trust of the British public. And Ukraine has helped a little bit at restoring the faith of the Prime Minister. But to be honest, they're going into this massive crisis having lost the trust and having lost the faith of the British public. And I think that means that whether or not the Prime Minister survives this, I think he probably will, it's going to be a very tough year for the Conservative Party because people are going to be poorer, and they're not sure that the Prime Minister, given how he responded to Partygate, is the best man to the job and the best man to handle any issue anymore.
All right, we'll look forward to reading. I love that expression you used at the beginning of our conversation. We are in field right now with your clipboards and online and asking people. Let's chat about what the results of those surveys are. And we'll watch it with great interest. For the time being, Chris Curtis, always a pleasure to see you, and thank you very much.
Good speech, Charles.